And good morning. This is the Abundant Retirement Show from Ross Wealth Advisors.
Good morning,
I'm Joe
Joe.
Bradley and Don Ross, the retirement boss, here on another beautiful Sunday morning. I say that because every Sunday morning that you get to be here for is a beautiful Sunday morning.
We're vertical.
As far as I'm concerned. And good morning to all you Rewind listeners. Thanks for joining us today. This is going to be an informative, informational, and possibly educational program today.
Right.
As we hope that each Abundant Retirement Show is. Clearly the main focus of what Don does and Ross Wealth Advisors is to help people have an abundant retirement. That's what you work for. That's
plan and enjoy an
your
abundant
entire
retirement.
life's goal. I mean, aside from all the things that you accomplish in life, in your career, and with your family, ultimately you do all of those things so that one day you can say, today's the day, or, next week is the week, or whenever it is, and your abundant retirement begins, and that's where you step in, Don.
Yep. Whether you're retired or 10 years from retiring, you have to take a different tact with how you invest your money, how you plan to generate reliable income from your savings, because many of you may not have a pension and maybe only just have Social Security. So we need to talk about that.
And it's never too early to start. And, and unfortunately for some people, it's never too late. It's late, but it's never too late.
No, never too late.
If you've taken some steps, you can always take better steps in the very near future. And I guess that's the thing. The near future is what you need to be concerned about now for your distant future. I think that's fair to say.
And even those of you listening that say, I've had an advisor for 20 years, half the clients we invite to come aboard every year that we can bring value are leaving a financial advisor relationship. So they didn't expect that to happen, but they see that our planning is different, that's addressing today and moving forward, not the last 30 years.
And that's not, and don't misunderstand what Don is saying there. What he's saying is just a fact that people that come to Ross Wealth Advisors and have their portfolios examined very carefully, many of them decide that their current advisors are, just dropping the ball. They're not getting the job done. Don is not out to poach clients. Much as, I'm sure there were people where, bells went off and they went, oh, they're trying to poach somebody's. That is not the point at all. As a matter of fact, and we've had this discussion in the past, and I guess we're about to have it again. You don't work with everyone. And even people that you would choose to work with may be with an advisor that's doing okay for them, and there's no need for them really to make changes.
No, what we're looking for is what could be missing, and I always use the analogy. If you're shopping for a Chevy and you walk into a Volkswagen dealer, you're not going to get what you need. You'll get a car,
right? But you're not going to get a lot of good answers about Chevys, I don't imagine.
So we're in the business of customizing a plan that's designed for your needs. I left the big firm and I felt they were biased or I was limited on what I could do for our clients. So as an independent advisor with a fiduciary responsibility, we're looking out for your best interests. And that's what it's all about. And it starts with looking at your portfolio. What have you saved over the last 20, 30, 40 years? And some of you have done extremely well and are now maybe getting a little nervous that you don't want to make a mistake because what don't you have on your side if you make a mistake? The T word. Time.
You don't have time. The other T word you just had to deal with. We just had to get that wrapped up this week, and that's taxes. But that's another T word that we don't talk. But time, you're right. Time is the element. And the reason for that is because Ross Wealth Advisors is looking really to serve a particular client base, and that is people who are either retired or retirement-minded, as you like to call them, within 5 to possibly even 10 years of retirement. Not necessarily somebody that's just starting out in their career in their 20s or early 30s. Not necessarily. Unless they're planning to retire at 40, perhaps, and and good for them.
I haven't seen many of those.
You don't probably see many of those, but maybe once in a while somebody comes along like that. But that's the person that you're looking for, is the person that doesn't have a lot of time to make up for mistakes that could be made, and the horrible outcome of that is not something we really want to talk about.
Well, that leads me to what I want to talk about today is the volatility in your portfolio. Now, what this basically means is the ups and downs. Okay, we've had a 9-year run up in the market. Now we've had a little bit of shakiness since January, but the volatility is basically saying, what's going on in your portfolio. The beauty of volatility is that it's random. The stock market is random. And those of you saving in a 401k or 403bs or a high deferred comp, You are saving inside of those funds that have those accounts that have mutual funds that are in the stock market. And you need to understand, what are you paying in fees that you don't see? And more importantly, what could happen to your portfolio in the next 2008, 2009, which means, okay, if I have $500,000 or $100,000 or whatever, and it loses 22%, are you in a position to say, wow, that's going to affect my life? And now will you make the wrong decision with your portfolio, which means it could ruin your retirement?
Well, you could
really fix that.
I mean, in a knee-jerk reaction, you could decide to expose it to more risk, which is not good. And volatility, it's one of those words where, well, what exactly does it mean? I thought in some cases volatility is good, and truly
it is if it's used
cases.
properly. Right. I always do an example in my office. I hold up two hands and I hold them equal. And I said, all right, if one stock goes up, one goes down, and I'm demonstrating here with you, and I asked the person sitting across from me, a potential client, what's your knee-jerk reaction? Well, I'm going to sell the loser, which has been proven over and over. That's the last thing you want to do.
That's right.
You want to sell the one that had some gains and take those gains and redistribute it, which we call rebalancing. So in my portfolio MRI, which I'm offering to anybody that has saved at least $250,000 for retirement, I can analyze what is going on in your portfolio, whether it's in deferred comp or it's an old brokerage account you had, or your 401k or an IRA, or any account you have that you're investing in the stock market. We want to take a look at it, just like an MRI a doctor does. What's going on inside of that part of your body? Well, I want to look at your portfolio and share with you what's going on, and then over and above that, we have to develop an income plan. How are you going to sustain your retirement for 20, 30, potentially more, longer than 30 years.
That's the interesting thing about it. If we go back to the days of old when you and I weren't around and Social Security was established, they set the retirement age at 65, not because they thought 65 was a good age for people to stop working and enjoy their lives.
Right.
The reality is, if you look at the actuarial tables from that period, they set the age at 65 because they thought, not too many people are going to be making it to 65, and this program will work great because we'll have all these people paying into it and hardly anybody ever making it to the point where they're going to make any withdrawals. Well, times have changed.
And meanwhile, my uncle, a World War II hero, just turned 99 last week.
Yeah, it's not very uncommon for people to, from 65 to go 20 years, 30 years or more. So you can't rely on just that system to help you, because that's not what it was designed to do, really.
And that's what we're helping people figure out is, A, how to maximize Social Security that you're going to get, that you're entitled to. But more importantly, how do you coordinate it with the other assets you saved? And that's where we can bring the most value. Again, if you save more than at least $250,000 for retirement, let's get that portfolio MRI, analyzing your portfolio, so I can walk you through in detail what's going on. Doesn't mean we're going to work together, because maybe we're not a good fit. But more importantly, you're now educated to make good decisions, and sometimes maybe go back to the person that put you in those funds and ask them, hey, why did we do this? Only if we uncover maybe it's a little too risky for you at this stage of your life. And one of the ways I describe volatility is, so picture yourself here at the corner of downtown Columbus. You're at the corner of Broad Street and 4th.
Okay.
4th is one way north, and Broad is, of course, both ways east-west. So you're there with maybe a 4 or 5-year-old child, and you have the do not walk sign, right? But that 4 or 5-year-old child, which could be a grandchild, just darts across traffic. Pretty exciting, right?
You're scared.
You
just made it very relatable.
I mean, you have to clean out your drawers after seeing that, all right? Now, the walk sign comes.
Yes.
You leisurely walk across the street, get over there to see that 4 or 5-year-old grandchild or child of yours. Who had the more exciting trip across that little journey?
Oh, the 4-year-old certainly did.
And you both got to the same destination.
You had some excitement too, but it was not a comfortable excitement.
So that's one way I describe volatility is, that wild ride you had to get to a destination that accomplished, hopefully, that retirement. Okay, and I use analogies, and I hope it helps some people. And I've got more where that came from.
So yeah, I mean, it's and the first thing. Let's get first things first. To actually contact Don and Don's office at Ross Wealth Advisors, a couple of ways you can do that. One of the easiest ways, you can do it right now, even as you're listening to the show.
Absolutely. Check us out.
You can just go to rosswealthadvisors.com.
Yep.
Very simple to do. You can follow along on the web as you listen to the program here on Rewind. Or feel free, pick up the phone while you've got it in your hand as well. As you get done looking at the website, switch it over to the phone and dial 614-545-0277. That's 614-545-0277. Now, I know it's a Sunday morning, but you can certainly call right this moment. There is a person that will answer your phone call and get the information to Don and his team at Ross Wealth Advisors, and it will go from there.
In fact, my answering service even sends me a text.
Lovely.
So I will know the second you call.
That is absolutely perfect. If you're, if you like email, Don likes email as well.
We could start communicating that way. Absolutely. I've created great relationships with then prospects, but now clients, just having an email conversation.
And,
absolutely.
I've found that people email is very convenient for a lot of people and for a lot of reasons. Some people are hesitant to pick up the phone and make a phone call, for example, because they are afraid, and you shouldn't be with Don and his people at Ross Wealth Advisors. They're not going to hard sell you. They're not looking to get your phone number so they can badger you on the phone or anything like that. No. That's not going to happen. I'm guaranteeing you that is not going to happen. But if you email Don, it's Don at Ross Wealth Advisors. He'll respond to you, not an automated computer
robotic
response hand it off to an intern to send you back a questionnaire again to try to get a bunch of information to try to hard sell you and badger you. That's not the way it works.
No.
Don actually responds to people, prospective clients, and certainly regular clients, but prospective clients who send emails. That is just the way he does things.
In fact, if we try to reach out, my staff, Nikki or Renee, awesome team members of mine, if they reach out twice and would leave 2 voicemails, that is it.
And then if you don't respond, then it's determined that you're not interested in pursuing a relationship, and that's fine.
Where you're going to get the maximum value is one-on-one, sitting down and getting to work on your particular situation. And that's what I'm all about. I've been doing this for 30 years.
One-on-one. I guess
one-on-one,
that's the thing. I'm sure that people find that interesting and probably very different, that you're not using the shotgun, scattergun approach, trying to hit everything you can.
No.
It's a matter of finding clients that are the right fit, for, clients that are particular, clients that work with your plan that you can help. And not everybody's going to fall into that, so you don't have to chase everybody down, I guess.
So I want to sit with you one-on-one, 45 minutes. Let's just find out in 45 minutes what's going on in your portfolio, Social Security planning, pension planning. I definitely want to do that portfolio MRI to analyze what's going on. So if you saved at least $250,000 for retirement, give the office a call, 614-545-0277. Or as Joe said, email me directly, don@rosswealthadvisors.com. Check out the website. And I want to make this a complimentary visit to any of you Rewind listeners. And, by the way, I love this channel. It's the only one that's really on the dial of my car.
Absolutely perfect.
Give us a call. We have answering service on Sunday morning. And then, of course, during the week, we're in the office and we're ready to help whoever's really serious about taking a look at what's going on in their portfolio.
This is the Abundant Retirement Show. We'll be back. We'll be talking about some of the hot news topics of the week as well, and more discussion about your portfolio and how the MRI from Ross Wealth Advisors can make sure you're in the right place for your abundant retirement. Joe Bradley here with Don Ross, the retirement boss of Ross Wealth Advisors, and we're discussing retirement planning versus retirement income planning. It's just a one word, but big difference, right, Don?
Absolutely. Significant difference, Joe. Retirement planning is about growing your assets, like in your 401ks, your IRAs, deferred comp. So when you retire, you have that money to enjoy that abundant retirement. Retirement income planning is different in our area of expertise. Remember, when that paycheck stops, everything changes. Are your assets positioned and invested properly to generate reliable income, regardless of what happens on Wall Street or Main Street, and more importantly, how long you live?
So Ross Wealth Advisors is really about specializing in this, right?
Absolutely. Any mistakes during this phase of your life could be catastrophic.
Whether you're retired or within 5 years of retiring or just have concerns about whether you're going to have enough money, call Don's office and schedule a complimentary visit. The number is 614-545-0277, or you can simply visit rosswealthadvisors.com.
Welcome back to the Abundant Retirement Show from Ross Wealth Advisors. That's rosswealthadvisors.com. And the office number, very simple to reach, 614-545-0277. Joe Bradley here with Don Ross, also known as the Retirement Boss. And
yes,
it just
sir.
happens to rhyme. It was not intentional. It just kind of worked out that way.
Came out of your mouth one day.
Did,
all right.
It's amazing how sometimes things stick like that. We're discussing... Well, we're discussing the MRI, looking at your portfolio and make sure that things are in order. And if they're not, getting them in order for your retirement, your abundant retirement. And we're speaking primarily to those of you who are some retired right now, and also those of you who are retirement minded. With retirement, you know, that light at the end of the tunnel is getting brighter, and you're, 5, 6, 7, maybe even 10 years from retirement, but the time is getting shorter for you to make your correct plans.
Yes.
So that you have your abundant retirement in order when that time does get here.
You got it.
And
absolutely.
Busy week, a couple of notable things happening in the world this week, and one that was very dramatic, also very tragic. One of the Southwest airline flights had a catastrophic engine failure, and it's something that's incredibly shocking, and I know it's one of those things that it causes people to have a tremendous reaction. The good news is they are incredibly rare.
Yeah, very rare.
Rarely ever happens.
Those who don't want to sit next to the window, it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, yes. I mean, for people who are saying, yeah, but it just happened. Yes, it did just happen. But when's the last time you ever heard of that happening? It's incredibly rare. But, I mean, hats off to the pilot.
So I'd like to talk about that, having flown in the military. So this Tammy is the pilot of this aircraft. I've always been a big fan. I mean, actually, women make awesome pilots. Here's why. I think women have a lot less ADD than we men. So
I think that comes from the ability to raise multiple children and corral a husband for their entire lives and still do everything else that they feel like they want to do.
So I did a little looking on her. She enlisted in the Navy in about 81, tried the Air Force, but I guess they weren't interested, but was a Navy fighter pilot, which means, all right, you're carrier-based.
Yeah.
So you're landing on a postage stamp size, landing zone in a $40 million aircraft.
Trying to come in and land it on a moving surface.
And by the way, that Top Gun movie is about 4% accuracy based on talking to Top Gun pilots. But anyhow, so in the military, you're trained, to fly in all kinds of circumstances, and you practice engine out scenarios a lot in the simulators. Now, that's not an excuse for the amazing job that Captain Tammy Schultz did, and she needs to be commended, just like Sully, on the famous Hudson River landing, which, by the way, that's a great movie. And she did an amazing job. You just hear how calm she is. That's
the thing. If you listen
to her training.
You listen to the air traffic control recordings, which have been broadcast all over the place. I mean,
that's her training.
You would not guess if someone said, "Hey, what do you think this person is doing right this moment?" Yeah. You would not guess that they were flying a jet airliner with an engine that had just exploded.
One of the first things you're taught, and I went through military flight training, is fly the aircraft first, no matter what.
Right.
Now you're flying, 150 passengers. You definitely need to fly that aircraft.
Yep.
And sure, it went down to the left and started descending, and then she backed off the right engine and just did a great job. So commend to Captain Tammy Schultz, who also is a lieutenant commander in the Navy. So thanks for your service.
She probably won't get nearly the accolades and the attention that Captain Sullenberger got, just due to the fact that there's no video of it having occurred. And that's really sad when you stop and think about it. I mean, what he did was tremendous, no question at all. What she did was also tremendous, but no, because there's no video, it won't be made into a movie. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, probably not. I know there's a lot of passengers that are like, "Hey, who's this captain that saved our life?" Which is
absolutely
cool. And so, thanks to the military for her training and all that. And then, of course, another favorite, as we talk about current news, is the passing of Barbara Bush.
Yeah, that's a sad
matriarch of matriarchs. And so our thoughts and prayers go out to that family. However, George Herbert Walker Bush said, hey, basically, take us, there's a quote of him saying, take the Bush family off your worry list. We are good. She's in heaven with her maker. And
She and her husband married 73 years.
They met at 16 and 17 years old. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, how many love stories like that exist?
Not too many. And
Online somewhere.
As easy as it would be to maybe look at their lives and say, well, they really had it easy. Well, that's not necessarily the case, and that's in fact there are a lot of true scenarios where their lives were not easy.
Speaking of aviation, here's young Lieutenant George Bush shot down in the South Pacific.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
We want to talk about
that's how
stress.
His early life. A lot of it started out, and they had some trials and tribulations with a young child, and so it's
they lost a daughter. Yep.
But certainly our condolences to the Bush family, but they're probably quite resilient, and they will be fine.
Yeah, and, great family.
It's tragic when and Barbara Bush. She was not a political person. She was not elected to anything. She just happened to be the spouse of a president and the mother of a president
and a governor, and the story goes on.
But she was, if I recall correctly, when her husband was in office, her approval ratings were higher than her husband's.
Yeah.
So, I guess that tells you something right now.
We're all laughing in the studio now. Okay.
She seemed, she seemed like a person that she could have been my grandmother. She wasn't, but.
So
could have been.
Let's get back to the financial
back
MRI
and back to the
boring stuff
here.
like you're protecting your net worth.
Yes, and we're here to help you in your future is what we're here to do with Ross Wealth Advisors. And the MRI, where you actually dig deep into a person's portfolio.
Absolutely.
And help them plan through retirement. Let's talk a little bit more about that. And your name is on the company, Don, because it's Ross Wealth Advisors, and you started it. But you've assembled a team.
Yep.
It's not just you working out of a cubicle in some back room somewhere. You have a team that surrounds you that helps with this.
Actually, I'm glad you brought that up. So we're in Upper Arlington on Fishinger Road. I bought the old HER Harley Ruda building.
Right.
And we gutted it. My amazing wife decorated it, and it's beautiful, and you can see it on the website, on the landing page. It has kind of a little tour. So, I sit with families every day. And individuals. I have divorcees, I have widows, widowers, and we talk about what's important to them. And on this topic of what have you saved? And I've seen people walk in that have saved $100,000. I've seen people walk in that have saved $4 or $5 million. Okay, and that's your neighbors. All right, everybody out there listening, that is your neighbor. And we talk about what's important. And then when we're going to analyze your portfolio, which could be an old account you have at Fidelity or Merrill Lynch or Schwab, or you have a 401k at work. Let's look at those, and let's make sure that we know what's going on in there. Everybody wants to know the fees they're paying. I've even had people come in and say, I've asked my broker for the last 5 years, what am I paying in fees? And I don't get an answer.
That should be a red flag there.
Exactly. I will give you an answer. And just last week, I had someone that came in. We went through and did an MRI, and I showed her specifically what was going on, and that was her reason to say, hey, I've been educated. It's time to maybe leave my current advisor because we're doing retirement planning, and I'm looking at and getting an answer for my portfolio. What's it costing me? But more importantly, it's that volatility, that up and down. If we have another 2008, what will happen to your portfolio, and will you make, as Joe said earlier, knee-jerk reactions? We have to avoid that. My job is to coach you in the up markets as well as the down markets.
Right. I mean,
they're coming.
And it is absolutely, as if anybody who's been alive more than 20 years and paid any attention to the way financial markets move, they move.
We're going to build a plan that works in any market, any economy, no matter what's happening on Capitol Hill, Wall Street, or Pennsylvania Avenue. We're going to build a plan so I don't get phone calls when the market's crazy. My clients have a plan. They understand it's built for their custom needs. And that's what we'll talk about when we sit down for 45 minutes in the office. If you saved at least $250,000 for retirement, we're going to sit down and analyze that. Is it on track for what you want to do? And that's the question all of you have when people come in. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah. Am I going to have enough money to continue to live the way I want to and to do the things I want to do?
Exactly.
And the answer to that, if you've done the right things up to this point, if you've made good decisions up to this point, the answer can be yes.
Absolutely. You know, there's no greater joy than showing someone when they can retire almost to the day of the month. You know, meeting with someone last week that said, all right, we've been working together 4 or 5 years. I'm now ready to retire next April 15th. And then I get into how'd you choose that date, and the answers are awesome.
Why that date?
Well,
yeah, I'm sure. You know, it's an anniversary.
There's many reasons.
Oh yeah,
you know,
there can be any number of reasons.
Age. I mean, I had a person that said, you know, I told him that you could retire tomorrow, and she went in and quit. And her husband looked at me and goes, "Thanks a lot, Don, but
thanks for doing that. Now I've got to get a job."
No, they were in good shape. He works at a big company here in town, and they were in great shape, and she couldn't, because here's why. She hated her job, and she needed someone to prove to her that she could retire, and she went out and did. She loves horses, and she went out and followed that passion, and you know, those are the stories I hear every day. It's about quality of life, and if you love your job, let's know when you can retire. But, you know, some of you, frankly, hate your job. And let's see if we can move on from that with a solid plan. And it starts with analyzing your portfolio.
And that's the beginning of it, is getting into Ross Wealth Advisors. Contacting Ross Wealth Advisors is your first step.
45 minutes.
You know, rosswealthadvisors.com. That is your web portal for your first point of contact, or you can do it by telephone, 614-545-0277. Email Don directly if you'd like to do that.
Absolutely.
Don, D-O-N, at rosswealthadvisors.com. Very simple to do, and that's where you get started. And we work
with all walks of life. Anybody out there that's safe for retirement, the background, your vocation, what you do, what you did do, it doesn't matter. We want to sit down with anybody that has a true interest in taking charge and having control over what they're doing. And that's part of the reason we didn't even mention that today. I wrote my book, you know, the Retirement Survival Guide.
Absolutely.
That might be helpful.
Second edition, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, that might be helpful for people to read. And I'd provide that to you with a call or an email. And I wrote it for purely the educational basis to say, hey, I want you empowered. So when you make a decision to change advisors or stay with your advisor or make changes on your own, that you've done it because you've been informed and educated. And I'm a big believer, the more the consumer is educated, the more the consumer wins.
Right. You have a better opportunity to make a better choice. And, you know, and that's something, there's another group of people that we kind of touched on, but not really a lot. And that's those who have felt maybe they were in a good position with their current advisor and their situation. Well, they've maybe just kind of not thought about it much.
Yeah.
And they've got questions, or maybe they're feeling a little uncomfortable, or they can't get answers, as you referred to, from their current advisors.
They're not getting the answers, yeah.
Call Don. I mean, he will at least look at your situation and give you the answers that you are looking for. They may be answers that make you feel confident where you are, and that's the end of it. Or they may be answers that cause you to say, wait just a minute, something needs to be changed here. And if that's the case, well, you'll be in the right place with Ross Wealth Advisors for sure.
Yeah, if we decide we're a good fit, we have to be a good fit. And, you know, we have to have philosophical agreements. And we're pretty conservative. And if you're real aggressive and you have some kind of crazy ideas, we're not a good fit. So
and if that's what you've got, there are plenty of people out there you can find to give you the advice that you want to hear, I guess, is the thing.
Well, that's enough for this week, Joe. Take us to the end here,
buddy.
It
is. We will wrap things up by once again encouraging you to contact Ross Wealth Advisors on the phone. It's 614-545-0277. The website, which is available anytime, and the phone is also available anytime. But rosswealthadvisors.com. A lot of information on the website itself. There's some nice videos that you can watch as well. It give you a feel for how Don does things. I mean, that's what we're trying to get across in this program, is exactly how Don and all the folks at Ross Wealth Advisors do business. And if it's right for you, they would love to do business with you as well. And this is the Abundant Retirement Show. We'll join you again next week, 7 a.m. Sunday, here on Rewind.